Thank you, Matthew. Welcome to Winnipeg on this cool mid-October Friday night. Another meeting between two old rivals, only this time it's Saskatchewan clinching first in the West, with the Bombers still need to win. They still have not clinched a playoff spot. You know, you look at Zach Collaros, Dwayne, and really the rest of the Bombers. The last two games are kind of indicative of the season. Looked like world beaters at home against Hamilton a few weeks ago, and then a lot less than that in Edmonton last week.
Yeah, they certainly have highs and lows for them, and they've kind of gone the way of their quarterback, Zach Collaros, for the 7th time this season. Threw 2 interceptions in a game last week. They've got to take care of that football if they want to secure the victory tonight. Part of the challenge will be this guy, Devon Campbell, returning to the Saskatchewan lineup. 3 of his league-leading 6 interceptions this season have come against the Bombers.
Well, for Corey Mays, who just signed a new contract extension this week, a 12-4 record, best in the CFL. Riders clinching the top of the division for the first time since 2019. An unusual spot, I would think, for Mike O'Shea after 4 straight years of finishing first. Even a win tonight won't absolutely guarantee a playoff spot. They'd still have to wait. Got Edmonton and BC coming up later tonight in a doubleheader. But another big crowd here at Princess Auto Stadium. The Riders won the toss. They have deferred. They will kick off. The Bombers at 8-8 will get the football first, coming off a 5-point loss at Commonwealth to the Edmonton Elks last week. Brett Lawler to get it started. Friday night football in Winnipeg in the 3rd meeting of the season between these two rivals. Trey Babel, always dangerous on the return as he gets it to the 35 and cuts back over the 40. And about the 43, ball's loose. Riders say they have it. Babel on the return. They discuss right now. It is Saskatchewan football. We've seen Trey Babel take an opening kickoff for a touchdown. This time it's a turnover, and the Riders take advantage right away.
Well, obviously not the start the Winnipeg Blue Bombers were looking for, expecting to get their offense out on the field, try to get out in front in this ball game. Babel had a nice return going there, but Kerfula Exume, originally a Blue Bomber draft pick, terrific special teamer, is the guy who punched the ball out on the tackle. And the Green Riders come up with it.
Remember Exume in his rookie year in 2019 with Winnipeg, and yeah, he was one of their best special teams players that year. Getting it done against the Bombers for the Riders now on Babel. Jake Mayer, his 2nd start of the season since coming over from Calgary after 4 seasons with the Stamp. Starting with a flea flicker, looking deep right away and open, but no, Demario Houston arrives late, and Joe Robustelli was the intended receiver. We got pass interference coming up against Houston, and that ball, had it been a little bit further, could have been an easy touchdown for Saskatchewan.
Defensive pass interference, Winnipeg number 9. The ball will be placed where the infraction occurred. First down.
Saskatchewan going right after it, trying to catch the Bombers back on their heels. Mario Anderson takes a handoff back to Jake Mayer. And as you said, if he had been able to get a little bit more on this one, the flags would be moot.
You see Robustelli injured, reaching back for it, but look, the way he landed on that left leg, the left knee. The Riders have had a lot of injuries at receiver. Their top 3 receivers are taking a break now, but they've been extremely deep at that position as well. Robustelli's been a part of that. But an early concern for a team that just wants to stay healthy until the game that matters the most.
Yeah, that's exactly it, Rod. I mean, you look at the Saskatchewan lineup, and we'll be talking about it throughout this ball game, but this is a team that is very aware now that they have clinched first place in the West Division. It's about getting to that West Final with everybody in the best possible physical state. As you see, their top 3 receivers in terms of yardage sitting out tonight. Their starting running back, leading rusher, A.J. Ouellette, and of course, quarterback Trevor Harris in uniform, but listed as number 3 on the depth chart today.
And Robustelli gets off on his own with a little bit of a limp there, favoring that left leg. Testament has said to the Rider receiving corps that they can sit their top 3 receivers, and the ones they have dressed have all had a good amount of playing time. So we get 1st and goal after the penalty to Houston. It's Jack Cohn in for short yardage now for the Riders. Takes it and breaks the plane for the Saskatchewan touchdown. What a start for a team that's already clinched first place and a bye to the West Final after the fumble on the kickoff and the pass interference. Riders quickly find the end zone here in Winnipeg.
Saskatchewan short yardage offense that has usually been the domain of Tommy Stevens. He's on the injured list. Jack Cohn looking to make the most of this opportunity, running that unit for the last couple of weeks. Cohn in for the touchdown.
We're just a couple of plays into this game. Fumble off the kickoff, pass interference and the flea flicker, the touchdown by Cohn, and then the point after by Brett Lother. And the Riders, who won the 2 previous games against the Bombers, trying to sweep the season series, on a big night for Winnipeg. They're down 7-0. Back in Winnipeg, Mike O'Shea's Bombers in an early hole the way this game started, and this is what's at stake. The scenarios for this week: a Winnipeg win against Saskatchewan and a Calgary win tomorrow over the Argos would get them in the playoffs, or later tonight an Edmonton loss at BC Place, regardless of what the Bombers do tonight, because they do have the tiebreaker against Edmonton. There are other complicated scenarios for next week. We won't get into it yet. See what happens here tonight.
You're not going to lay out all of the scenarios?
No. Making my head explode for a while, including possibilities of 4-way ties behind Saskatchewan in the West. This the second last weekend of the regular season, still a lot to be decided. Babel again, second kick return of this game. The last one resulted in a fumble. He gets it up to the 29. So now we will see Zach Collaros coming in, as mentioned. Brilliant a few weeks ago, but it was a different story. 22 of 34, 202, 2 interceptions he threw in Edmonton.
Yeah, and it's been an interesting season. The thing that stands out as you look at Zach's numbers is that touchdown to interception ratio. 16 touchdown passes, 15 interceptions for Zach Collaros this season. Very similar numbers last year, but you go back to 20, 21, 22, 23, and he kind of had 3 times as many touchdowns as interceptions.
Taking the handoff, throwing it first down, completes it too, and that is Gavin Cobb inserted into the lineup with the injury to Nick Dembski, so they get Cobb involved in the offense right away, product of the University of Manitoba.
And take a look at the rest of this offensive unit. Gabe Wallace, second-year man out of the University of Buffalo, former second-round pick. He's become a full-time starter here in his second year. And yeah, Gavin Cobb, like Nick Dembski, a University of Manitoba grad, he's going to get plenty of looks here tonight, and starting right from the Bombers' first offensive play.
With that play, getting a first down, 1st and 10 at the Winnipeg 46. Collaros quickly off to the right, and it is knocked away. That is a tough defensive line for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and Malik Carney, Riders getting their hands up to force a second down.
Yeah, tough defensive line, even without Micah Johnson, the veteran among those who are sitting out for the Riders tonight. A.J. Allen has had just a tremendous season. The former University of Guelph star leads Saskatchewan in defensive plays this season. We mentioned earlier Tavon Campbell coming back into the lineup. So many guys going out of the lineup for these final couple of games as they're resting. Campbell has been injured. They've been banged up in the secondary. This is a guy they need back and playing.
It's actually Antoine Brooks knocking it down. Blitz coming. Collaros quickly getting it away. Intended for Kevin Sklarcias, with the coverage from C.J. Rivas, and a late flag comes out. Looks like another PI in this game, this time against Saskatchewan.
Kevin Sklarcias is going to start off out wide here. We'll take a look at just a minute.
Defensive pass interference, Saskatchewan #1. This will be a 10-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Sklarcias has just got that underneath route. You could see C.J. Rivas coming downhill. Really just almost looked like unintentional contacts. He was trying to get himself in position, and sure enough, the ball was on its way.
Tried to time it out a little bit too early, though. So first down by penalty, and the first carry there for Brady Oliveira. And a good pickup for Oliveira as he works it down closer to the Rider 45. A second and short coming up here for Winnipeg.
And never a surprise when the Bombers lean on Brady Oliveira offensively. Over 100 yards in 3 of Winnipeg's last 4 games, 100 yards rushing. 4 of their last 7.
Yeah, last week in Edmonton, 12 carries, 117 yards, also with 30 yards on 7 receptions as well in that narrow defeat by the Bombers to the Edmonton Elks. From the Saskatchewan 46 and a 2nd and 2, Chris Strebler is in. Short yardage specialist Chris Strebler works his way through, and the 3rd first down of this drive for Winnipeg as the sticks will move again.
Brady Oliveira, the CFL's reigning most outstanding player. I mentioned the last 7 games, over 100 yards 4 times, all part of a big turnaround for him between his first 7 of the year and his last 7. Bear in mind he missed a little bit of time with injury early in the season, but you know, the team is still trying to ensure that they're on the right track headed towards the playoffs, but certainly Brady Oliveira heating up at the right time of year.
It was a topic in their first meeting of the season, Labor Day, against the Riders, how little he ended up carrying the ball. With more touches the following week in the Banjo Bowl. Both victories by Saskatchewan. Faking to Oliveira. Throwing. Caught. And another first down, too. Coming down, it's Gavin Cobb with his 2nd catch. Inserted, as mentioned, into the lineup because of the injuries Winnipeg's offense has.
Yeah, you'll see they bring the receiver down on the right side here to help that backside protection, knowing Collaros is rolling away. Get him protected. Cobb just sliding into an open hole here to make that catch and pick up the first down. Former Edmonton pick. Came back to Manitoba as a free agent.
Collaros to throw again. Deeper ball. To the end zone. Touchdown. Ontario Pokey Wilson. What an amazing catch last week in Edmonton. As the first big catch of this game for a Winnipeg touchdown.
Nick Dembski out of the lineup in Ontario Wilson. Carrick, Wheatfall, you've got a couple of guys that can take the top off of defenses. Wilson, it may not have been quite as dramatic as last week's highlight reel grab, but 6 points just the same at a critical time for the Bombers here.
And the point after from Sergio Castillo ties this ball game after a 7-play, 81-yard drive finished off by number 80, Collaros, the Pokey Wilson. 7-7 tie, Friday Night Football in Winnipeg. Here's the touchdown by Ontario Wilson last week in Edmonton. I just can't stop watching this highlight over and over again. How on earth did he get that football?
Yeah, remarkable effort, terrific concentration, and unreal athleticism. The tail end just getting the arm underneath it and keeping the hand up off the turf.
It's amazing, and the replay told an even greater story looking back at it. And Wilson has just got another touchdown. As you say, not nearly as spectacular, but pretty important to this Winnipeg Blue Bomber team from Collaros to tie the score with the kickoff from Castillo now. On the Rider return, Mario Alford across the 30, 35. He's got something going midfield and more for Mario Alford. Well, more on that Wilson touchdown last week. Let's send it down and say hello to Britt Dort.
Well, it's funny you talk about the replay, Rod, because he said when he watched it back, all he could see was his eyes laser focused on the ball. He said basically there was no way I wasn't catching that. Jury's out for me personally. Did go viral on Instagram. He said everybody was trying to tag him in posts this past week, but he said the upsetting part was we didn't win the game. So he said it was hard to celebrate such a great catch. Now, his OC did give him some credit, said it was the best catch, one of the best he's ever seen live, and Jared Stearns told us it is the best catch he's ever seen live, and said the only thing he could come up with when he saw Wilson after was how, which we're all still asking how 20 times after watching it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Question's been asked a lot, even after you see it over and over again. Thank you, Brett. And on the carry is Mario Anderson getting the start at running back for Saskatchewan now.
Well, he's doing a good job, man.
You see those Winnipeg receivers still going over what they saw in that first offensive possession. Looking for a little more after the big play from Ontario Wilson.
Mario Anderson carry gets them down to the 40. Had a breakout game against Winnipeg. A couple of touchdowns rushing in the Labor Day Classic. In their first meeting of the year back September. Passing. Jake Mayer gets caught. It's a first down. Down to the 25. And that is Sean Bain, who used to be the #1 receiver in Saskatchewan a couple of years ago. Got hurt, and they added a lot of receivers, but getting a chance here tonight.
Yeah, you'll see Bain coming in from the left side of your screen. Starting out wide in what has primarily been Dante Myers' position this season. Myers sitting out again this week. Last week, Joe Robustelli started in that spot. This week, Robustelli's over to Keyshawn Johnson's spot with Bain back in the lineup.
Again, receiver depth. Saskatchewan has that. Back to Anderson. He started left, wanted to turn it up, but it's going nowhere. Tony Jones, the Bombers' leading tackler, in to stop him.
Things got off to such a fast start offensively here for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Barely had time to talk about the fact that it's Jake Mayer in at quarterback. Trevor Harris getting what we'll call a playoff preparation day.
And he's not happy about it.
And he's not. Trevor never likes to take a day off. He's the Max Scherzer of the Canadian Football League.
Except Corey Mays won this one. He won this battle. For now, anyway, the Riders clinching first in the West. They're giving their prize starting quarterback a rest tonight. Oh, timed up perfectly. Coming in is Jay Person on that pass, or excuse me, Jaden Woodby on the tackle. And right there on time, they set up that screen, and it's gone nowhere. Lost yardage.
Yeah, you can see the back. Anderson looking as if he was just going to try and slip back to the inside here. See him get out to the side. He's trying to come underneath, but Pierce, or Woodby rather, sniffs it out. Gets right in that run lane to make the play.
Brett Lawther, 5 for 5 last week, longest of 44. This one less than that, about 39 yards now. Bad points for the Riders, and he does. Lawther finding his leg again. 3 more for Saskatchewan. That drive helped out with a big kick return. 10-7 Riders. She sees what others miss, solves what others can't. Caitlin Olsen stars in High Potential, all new, Tuesdays on CTV, stream next day on Crave. Back in Winnipeg, there have been 3 possessions, and there have been scores on all 3. First Saskatchewan, the touchdown. O'Shea's Bombers come back. They get 1, and then most recently a field goal by the Riders. So Winnipeg starting out down 3, past the midway point of the first quarter from their own 40. 8-8 record coming in. Playoff spot still not clinched. Throwing off to the right. Coming back to the football is Pokey Wilson, who got the touchdown earlier. And carefully comes in and gets it and heads out of bounds after the first down is secured.
Working out of the slot on this occasion. Bombers get an extra offensive lineman into the game as a tight end to help them out. Partly with protection, but I think partly as they're trying to give a little bit of a run look as well, or a run key in that instance. Same formation here.
Up across their 50, and a first down, and back to Brady Oliveira, and stuffed after a couple of yards. Work up front by Saskatchewan to Marcus Fields. The field half coming in. This is Antoine Brooks.
I talked a little bit about DeMarcus Fields last week. This is a guy who's been sort of the rock of that secondary as they've battled through injuries. Had to shuffle some parts around as this season has gone on, particularly in the second half, but Fields has been a consistent starter at that field halfback spot and among the team leaders in total defensive plays.
Missing Roland Milligan, Marcus Sales, Nelson Lacombo, lots missing from the Riders secondary. They've had to make changes. Rest some players, pressure on Collaros, he gets away, and then dumps it off to Oliveira, who does some good work after, and a nice little hurdle as well. We got a first down, Winnipeg. Into the Rider zone they go.
A nice bit of improvisation here by 2 of the Bombers' veteran stars, Zach Collaros just navigating that pocket as things start to break down. Brady Oliveira gets to a place where his quarterback is able to find him near that sideline.
One more for the hurdle reel this year in the CFL. We got a lot of entries. Out of the 35 right hash, first down Winnipeg, back to Oliveira. Patiently looking for an opening, works his way through, breaks a tackle, and a good pickup by Oliveira to set up a second and short coming up inside the Saskatchewan 30.
Yeah, this is a nice job by Brady, trusting his offensive line. As you said, being patient, allowing things to develop here. Runs up in there, knows he's got his fullback, Michael Chris Ike, coming around the end to lead the way for him, so he sort of holds up a little bit to set up that block, turning it into positive yards.
Gets 6, second and 4 after that pickup by Oliveira inside the 30. Toss pass inside, and it's Jared Stearns, the ex-Rider, down near the end zone. It'll be a first and goal coming up for Stearns, who was injured the earlier games. Labor Day in the Banjo Bowl, didn't get to go up against his old team. We got a flag coming out here as well.
Now watch for the block coming in from the left side here. Going to motion down Kevin Sclarcius, the receiver. He pins the defensive end. Habakkuk Baldonado to the inside, allowing Stearns to break contain on the run. Nice execution there, well blocked play.
Stearns that close to getting a touchdown. As mentioned, the last couple of seasons he was with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, signing over with Winnipeg as a free agent. Still had plenty of nice things to say about his old organization, though. Still a lot of friends wearing green and white.
Has been a great addition to the Bombers, just in terms of the way he approaches the game. Such a pro, detail-oriented guy, as he says. I was never the biggest or the fastest guy.
There are 2 fouls after the play. Both are misconduct. The first one is a major foul on Winnipeg number 53. Objectionable conduct, misconduct on Saskatchewan number 33. We're going to go from the end of the play back 5 yards and a first down for Winnipeg.
Corey Mace wants an explanation. His player, Antoine Brooks, also gets a misconduct foul, as does Patrick Neufeld, the veteran right guard for Winnipeg. Looked like Mace was arguing that there was more Neufeld and less Brooks, but all cancels out. And the scrimmage just outside the 5. Oliveira just works it inside the 5. A short pickup on this first and goal. Gets it down to around the 4. Second down coming up for Winnipeg.
And you've got that feeling from in this close at this stage of the game, given the importance as well. And with Brady Oliveira kind of feeling it a little bit here and doing his thing, that the Bombers are happy to take 3 cracks to get it in. 3-down football here.
Well, in each of their games, they ended up losing to Saskatchewan. They had good starts. They had leads. A 10-point lead on Labor Day, and there was an Oliveira touchdown putting them in front. But just couldn't sustain it. Ultimately lost that game by 4. Second down. Strebler in. Fakes to Oliveira. Chris Strebler tosses it away. Closest receiver was Wilson, but not close enough to him. Strebler in the short yardage situation for Winnipeg on second and goal.
Yeah, and you're going to see this is a situation where it appears that Strebler's got the option to either hand it off or keep it and go around the edge. He keeps it, but the Rider D hadn't crashed far enough. That throw is sort of the safety outlet to avoid losing yards if he gets in trouble, as he did. And they're not looking for a completion out there.
Illegal procedure, no end on Winnipeg. Number 69 was closing the line.
So Sounds like they need to get someone.
Saskatchewan elected to decline the infraction. It will be third down.
So they needed to get a receiver up on the line of scrimmage outside of the offensive tackle on that play.
And Kendall Randolph, 69. So it's third down and goal, but Mike O'Shea wants some points in this critical game to tie this score. Sergio Castillo on again. 41 of 47. 87.2% made. Out down and kicked it through, and once again, the Bombers answer back with a field goal of their own on this mid-October Friday night. Princess Auto Stadium in Winnipeg. We got a 10-10 tie. There's Saskatchewan offensive coordinator Mark Mueller opening up the bag of tricks right away. Let's go down to Luke Wilson on that first play from scrimmage.
Yeah, Rod, I absolutely love the call because you got to understand the entire context. Right now, obviously, you're not playing Trevor Harris, but what you put on film, teams will go back 2 to 3 games to study up. So now you create a situation when whoever sees you in that West Final, this is the first play they've got to prep for and practice. Hey, they got a flea flicker. And I would look to see if Mark Mueller continues to add more wrinkles and more tricks, maybe not as dramatic as a flea flicker, but create plays where their next playoff team has to quote-unquote chase ghosts while studying this film and prepping for them. So he's in a real fun spot with how creative he can get today.
Interesting, Luke, and it worked either way, as you talked about. It was underthrown, led to the PI, but had it been thrown well, as Dwayne talked about, that's a touchdown.
Absolutely, Rod. And again, you said it. Not only did it work, but that's going to, again, cause a lot of problems for future D coordinators to prep for this.
Interesting. So Rider offense showing something early here. 10-10 tie, and going to work again is Jake Mayer. And that one goes a little bit too high for Tommy Neal. First target of Neal goes incomplete with Dietrich Nichols on him.
And take an opportunity to have a look at this starting Riders offense. Braden Knoll will make the start at center. He's in there as Logan Ferland gets a little bit of a break in this one, along with many other starters. And there you see that receiving core we mentioned earlier, Sean Bain. This is a guy who has been over 1,500 yards receiving over the last 2 seasons combined. Battled injuries throughout this year, but he's kind of fighting perhaps for a spot on that playoff roster.
So here's Mayer again, throwing again, and knocked away. Would be coming in. Good work by the Bomber defense now to force a third down, and for the first time, Saskatchewan will have to punt.
Jaden Woodby is a guy who's been a nice addition here to this Winnipeg defense, a mid-season add, a guy who's ended up playing a lot of snaps. Definitely has been noticeable, made his presence felt since joining the Blue Bombers.
The first possession that ends up stalling and needing a punt here. Jesse Murko, Rider punter, getting it away to Trey Vavel inside the 25. Vavel up across the 35 and going out of bounds. So Colares on the offense. Flag coming out as well on that play.
Every game. I love you, mama.
Jaden Whitby.
And a couple of late flags down on this one, Rod, right at the tail end of the play. That ear hole shot.
Third possession. They've scored in the first 2, but starting deeper in their zone, Brady Oliveira, and has to work hard just to get 3 yards. Tough up front. Ali Saad, the got his first sack of his CFL career against Winnipeg back on Labor Day. Big day for the Rider D-line that day. Lara's time. Oh, open receiver. Deeper over the middle, but can't hang on. That's Jareth Stearns that way. In traffic, but can't secure the catch. Third down, and the Bombers will have to punt at the end of 1 quarter.
It all goes down in Winnipeg.
Canada's biggest game.
At Canada's biggest party. Featuring the Bud Light Grey Cup halftime show starring multi-platinum selling artist MGK.
It sounds cliche, but tell me what you wait for me. Baby, I'm a rolling stone.
CFL champion will be crowned. The 112th Grey Cup on TSN and CTV. Wait for me.
We've been wondering who's the halftime entertainment. The announcement made this week by the CFL. For the Grey Cup a month from now, MGK. I know 40's got a lot to say about this. How about you, Brett?
Oh, big fan. And he is a great performer. Also, great fashion choices. Excited to see what he wears in middle of November in Winnipeg. But, Luke, isn't it that any guy who has a connection to Megan Fox automatically gets a thumbs up?
Absolutely. Absolutely, Brett. I was going to go there. I mean, the man dated Megan Fox. It can't get much bigger than this.
Love it. Plenty of great songs over the last few years. You know, he had me at my ex's best friend. Big hit in 2020.
For MGK. And exciting news this week. He'll perform at the half right here, Princess Auto Stadium. Both these teams would love to be playing in this game. Saskatchewan has clinched a bye to the Western Final. That's offered on the return after the first punt for Winnipeg of this game in a 10-10 tie. Jake Mayer said getting the start, second of the season for Trevor Harris.
And there you see his 7 career starts against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Those, of course, came prior to this season when he was a member of the Calgary Stampeders. 1-6, so looking to turn that around tonight, playing for the rival Saskatchewan Roughriders.
He was 3-0 as a starter with an injury to Boldy by Mitchell back in 2021 with Calgary, coming out of Cal Davis. Ended up taking over the starting position in the last couple of years with the Stampeders and signing on with Saskatchewan. Mario Anderson, nowhere to go. Retta crammed in, got him wrapped up and no gain.
And Retta Cramdy has really emerged as one of the leaders of this Blue Bomber defense. University of Montreal product. See him towards the top right corner of your screen. Starting Sam linebacker just beats the block of Tommy Neal down to the gap before Anderson could get going.
I'll give Anderson maybe a foot. We'll call it a 2nd and 10. Hardly moved at all on that one on the play by Cranby. Jake Mayer with time, nearly ran out of it. He takes off. Jake Mayer on the run and then sort of slides as he gets up close to a first down. It'll be very close to get to about the 43 and see where they spot this ball.
Yeah, you'll see the middle linebacker, number 33, Tony Jones, had a shot, but got baited into leaving his feet, thinking that Mayer was going to throw the ball. Mayer holds onto it, ducks under, and takes off. Moves the sticks.
Gets it up to the 43. For Mayer, his one other start for the Riders back in week 4. Trevor Harris was hurt. And Mayer, QB of record in that victory as they had a 4-0 start. He beat the BC Lions that day at Mosaic. Second quarter. Whistles blow.
Illegal procedure. Saskatchewan number 41. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
It was announced once again from the referee, Andre Prue. Procedure call. So now a 1st and 15 for the Riders.
So big opportunity here for the Bombers with Saskatchewan in this extra long situation.
Crowd picking up 1st and 15. Throwing to the right and coming in to defend Del Duncan Busby is Dietrich Nichols. The boundary half with a good defensive play to force a 2nd and long here.
You see pressure from the bottom of your screen as Jones comes on a bull rush against the running back Mario Anderson in that backfield. Nice break on the ball by the veteran Dietrich Nichols. Big play to get underneath on that one for the knockdown.
The Riders They know they can win in this stadium. They did it in the Banjo Bowl for the first time since 2018. Finally getting a victory here at Princess Auto. Tie game. Pressure on Mayer, and they've got him. Jake Mayer is sacked. Goes down way back inside the Saskatchewan 25, and the Riders will have to punt. James Vaughters.
Nice job here. Vaughters coming from the right side of that defensive line, but nice job by the group of sort of maintaining their rush lanes, even with the twist in the middle, making sure that there's no escape lane. They don't get caught at different levels. People over pursuing. Vaughters with his 6th sack of the season.
Couple of former Stampeders. James Vaughters in on Jake Mayer. 3rd and 28. Standing around the 10 is Mirko. Babel at his own 30. Trey Babel. Set up around the 45. Zach Collaros. 6 for 8. 121 yards and that touchdown pass to Ontario Wilson. A game of extreme importance, the second last game of the regular season for the 8-8 Bombers. Mediocre season by Zach Collaros' standards, up and down, just like his Winnipeg team, but at home, especially that last game against Hamilton a few weeks ago when they absolutely dominated, but still very impressive 36-7 record.
Yeah, there's just something about this place, and Mike O'Shea talked about that with us this week, that you know, whether playing at home or on the road, it's not so much about the travel of being on the road that's an issue, but they love having these fans behind them.
Wish that they could take them with them anywhere they went. Don't mind being on the road. That's Antoine Brooks Jr. in there, and some heat on Collaros, who was under a lot of pressure, especially in the first meeting when the Riders racked up a ton of sacks against Winnipeg that day.
You see Antoine Brooks, who has stepped in to that Sam linebacker spot. CJ Rivas moving to solidify the free safety position. Yeah. Brooks at one point this year had actually been moved over to the offensive side of the ball, taking some reps at running back, but was needed back here on D. He's made some big plays since getting an opportunity to be turned loose there.
Loss of 5, 2nd and 15. Collaros wanted to take off, but he tripped and barely got back to the original line of scrimmage. A gain of about 6 yards, but still 3rd and long, and the punting unit will come on.
And you've seen these two teams on back-to-back possessions. You know, you often talk about the types of plays that negatively impact drives. Penalty for Saskatchewan snuffs out the drive for them, puts them in a hole, tough spot to get going. They end up going 2 and out. Now the Bombers taking a sack on the first play, very similar thing. It's tough to overcome those extra long yardage situations.
Mario Alford will take this one. He had a 54-yard kick return that led to a field goal in the first quarter. Bobbles that punt return. Looks like he barely got it back. No, that was an opportunity for Winnipeg. Just nearly, but Alford, no return, but able to hang on to possession of the football just inside the 30. Alford hadn't secured it before taking off. Still Rider football. Corey Mace, Mike O'Shea, this game meaning different things for them tonight, Brett.
Yeah, and it's no shocker that when you talk to head coach Mike O'Shea about the pressure of winning right now and paying attention to other teams in the standings, that he told us simply, I don't care what other teams are doing. I'm going to control what I can control on my side of the ball. Of course, the Riders playing a little bit of load management after clinching first in the West last week. That rest versus Russ in their lineup. But what is different is the fact that Jameer Thurman said it doesn't matter who's in the lineup. We know that the Bombers ended our season last year, and we want to play spoiler alert to them here, and that starts tonight. We want people to know there's a new king in town in the West.
He was adamant about that, Brett. Absolutely, thank you. And see with the toque, very nice. Looks like you're getting ready for some playoff football now, too. On this cooler night here in Winnipeg, heading to that time of year. Mario Anderson on that catch. And yeah, for Mike O'Shea, 40 must be a little different for him. You know, clinching first in the West in 21, 2, 3, 24, and now just fighting for a playoff spot.
Yeah, that's it. This team that has been to 5 consecutive Grey Cups has a little tougher path this year.
Could finish anywhere from 2 to 4 to even out of the playoff next. Deep shot, Mayer. That's for Sean Bain with Evan Holm right with him, stride for stride, incomplete.
A nice angle taken there by Evan Holm, the halfback, getting out to the sideline. Bain out wide. Gonna try and take it down the rail, but you see Evan Holm gets right in that hip pocket. Situation where the throw would have to be perfect for Jake Mayer.
So they'll have to punt now. 3rd and 5. Jesse Murko. Getting down to 8 minutes to go until halftime in a 10-10 tie. Brave Avel. Oh, he is missed by Benoit Marion. One of their special team stars, like hitting a wall as he pushes him back to the 30. Winnipeg, a month from now, host of Grey Cup 112. We'll be back. Matthew Betts, CFL sacks leader, part of that resurgent BC Lions defense, trying to stop the Edmonton Elks. Part 2 of our Friday Night Football doubleheader coming up from BC Place. The Elks, like the previous weeks, have to win to keep playoff hopes alive. BC looking to move closer to the chance at hosting a playoff game. So stick around. Friday Night Football on TSN. And Mike O'Shea, you know, they'll be watching Edmonton after that, see what happens. And on that first down, Brady Oliveira managed to grind his way up. About 3-yard pickup.
The Bombers, nothing spectacular, but have, I would say, settled in nicely after that rather rocky start to this ball game. And sometimes that's one fumble on the opening kickoff leads to a quick touchdown for the Riders. Sometimes that can leave a team very out of sorts, can take a while to recover from. But Winnipeg got right back to business. I'm probably feeling pretty good, even with a slightly watered down Saskatchewan lineup.
It's a little pitch inside to Pokey Wilson, and going around the left. And he needed that yardage and a little bit more to get a first down for Winnipeg up around the 45.
And you see some of the other receivers picking up a bit of that slack in terms of the Bomber run game and extensions thereof. Not allowing teams to just focus on Brady Oliveira pounding the rock between the tackles, but getting those receivers involved to attack the perimeter.
And Wayne Wilson, as he was heading off close to the Bomber bench, in a lot of discomfort now, did not make it down on the field. Getting some attention right now. Well, I mentioned Matthew Betts, the CFL sacks leader for the BC Lions, getting set to host the Edmonton Elks. One of the teams that he played for, just a star at Laval, one of the greatest defensive linemen in the history of Canadian University football. See what he did with Laval. I know you followed his career quite a bit heading into the pros.
Yeah, absolutely. Heavily recruited guy, one of the most recruited players in the country. Metros Trophy winner as a top lineman in Canadian University football before being the 3rd overall pick. Going to Edmonton. The numbers weren't necessarily there, but I'll tell you what, the BC Lions personnel people recognized that he was getting pressures, that he was doing the right things. And they sign him, and the rest has kind of been history for Matthew Betts in the CFL.
So without Ontario Wilson, who is sitting out for at least 3 plays, getting some attention still now, it's Brady Oliveira on that first down in this 10-10 tie. There's Wilson. Came back from the NFL, being let go by the New York Jets, and it was Labor Day against Saskatchewan, his first game back. Hit over 1,000 yards receiving with Winnipeg in his first year with the Bombers last year. Their leading receiver in the Grey Cup last year. And talked about the great catch he had last week in Edmonton, and has the touchdown for Winnipeg, and hopefully okay. 2nd and 10 from the 46. Bombers. Clock ticking towards halftime. Flag is out in a 3-man rush. Collaros steps up, decides to take off, and lunges forward for another Winnipeg first down across midfield.
Another nice effort there using his feet for Zach Collaros. We saw him with a great escape.
Offside. Saskatchewan number 96. Penalty is declined. First down.
Great escape earlier in this ball game for Zach on a play where he found Brady Oliveira as an outlet. Here he's going to take it on his own. Watch him make Jameer Thurman miss in space here as he starts upfield. Little fake to the outside, ducks back in. Finds that first down marker.
Down to the Saskatchewan 53. The scoring has cooled off. Each team scored in their first 2 possessions. Not since then. Now getting late in the second half. There's another catch. That's the 3rd catch for Gavin Cobb with Winnipeg inserted into the lineup tonight.
Gavin Cobb started his university career at Simon Fraser University, so one of a handful of players still around the CFL with some SFU roots. Transferred to University of Manitoba. Fantastic kick returner, much like Nick Dembski, actually. Fantastic kick returner during his U Sports days, as well as a threat as a receiver.
Did some of that with the Edmonton Elks too, his first CFL stop. Oliveira still going, pushing his way down closer to the Rider 40, and another first down here for Winnipeg. Bombers on the move.
And good to see Ontario Wilson checking back in to that offensive huddle. So you get a look at Brady Oliveira again, just showing that patience. Knows and understands the blocking scheme. Sometimes the idea isn't always to pound it straight ahead at full speed. Got to recognize what's happening in front of you.
From the Saskatchewan 42, 4-man rush. Flag is out, and the ball is caught down at the 20. A flag thrown before Collaros to get rid of the football. Jarreth Stearns with the catch. Is this coming back? Looks like it is.
Offensive offside. Winnipeg number 20. 5-yard penalty. We're going to replay first down.
Take a look. Brady Oliveira empties out of the backfield. Lines up out wide on this one. You saw him with a bit of an early start on the play. Unfortunate as that'll bring back a nice gain.
It would have been down around the 20 of the Riders, back out outside the 45 and a 1st and 15. Dumping it off Oliveira, and a beautiful job coming in to make that play as Jameer Thurman, the veteran middle linebacker, had it read perfectly, and more lost yardage here for Winnipeg.
And watch for the middle linebacker here, Jameer Thurman. Basically mirroring Brady Oliveira as Oliveira widens out. Veteran guy has a sense of what the play is. He sees those offensive linemen trying to get out in front of him. Just shoots in behind the wall that's forming to make the play.
Heard him, Britt talked about, really motivated to hurt the Bombers here in the standings. A deep look, it is no, it's not dropped. It would have been out of bounds anyway. For Pokey Wilson working on Benny Sapp the third. Did get in behind him, but just out of bounds and incomplete anyway. Wilson, it was a long way to go. That close to getting it, but no, and a 3rd down coming up.
At halftime, we're going to discuss Alphonso Davies' ongoing recovery with Bayern Munich. Should Steph in his stack and get a move from
Shinetti. It's the wrong football.
Who got this guy in here, man? We'll talk about the Bombers keeping the Riders around. Park the Bus is on Tuesdays with Stephen Caldwell, Kevin Kilbane, and Luke Wow.
Oh, Shinetti, he's busy with soccer. He's busy with football. Always a busy man. Halftime coming up. He's got the panel tonight. And on that punt, it takes a roll. It heads into the end zone. Talking about special teams. That's been a difference in this one, Luke.
Yeah, you said it, Rod. It's been a very big difference right now. And even if you go back to last week, kind of a bit of a fluke play, but it's been jamming Winnipeg in terms of just how the flow of their games have gone. Again, we're going back to last week here. We all remember this play. I mean, absolute craziness. A lot of poppycock going on here. Balls bouncing around everywhere. And then it ended up being a huge play in this game. You come in today, and really Saskatchewan's got 10 points, and 7 of them are because of this fumble and the flea flicker. This is a very good special teams unit. You know, they're better than what you're watching right now, giving up these returns. They're extremely well coached by Coach Miller. I expect this unit to make a game-breaking play in this game at some point. They're too good not to.
For many years, Luke, special teams been a trademark for Winnipeg.
Totally right. And again, I really think a lot of this are flukes. Obviously, Alford on the return there. He's a tremendous returner in this league. But I think at halftime, to kind of settle in Winnipeg, this special teams unit can really be kind of that spark plug to get them going.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You look at the 10 points scored by Saskatchewan and the role that special teams have played
number 53.
in that, and 11 points on the board now for Winnipeg on that rouge we just saw before.
And I'll say this, Rod, before the game, I believe that man we're watching on the screen right now had the smelling salts out. I've been smelling salts from some of my hits sometimes. That's a sign of just endearment right there. I love that. I love that right there. You got to love playing for a guy like Mike Miller again. I think he's going to get the guys right.
I can just picture that, Wilson. Get those smelling salts, you get right back out there, right?
No question. That's the way to do it.
Hey, Luke, now Trey Vavel in that return game have been such a catalyst for Winnipeg in other games this season. But what other things are you looking for on special teams in terms of these guys getting it going?
You know, I really think that, especially in today's game, a block of any sort, whether it's a field goal or a punt block, really a rush like that, could flip the field. And Caleros is close here. He's kind of knocking on the door. They're jamming themselves. So I think if you put him in a short field, this game will break open soon.
So just over 2 minutes, and that's Sean Bain on that 1st and 20. You saw in the earlier play the injury to running back Mario Anderson. Thomas Bertrand-Dawn, number 30, and for Saskatchewan still a 2nd and long coming up for the Riders.
An injury certainly that we'll keep an eye on from a Saskatchewan point of view. Again, this is a guy who's not a starter for them, but you also want to go into the playoffs with as much depth as possible. Mario Anderson, an important guy who had a little talk with Andrew Harris, Winnipeg legend, Riders running back coach, about the work he has done with Mario Anderson this season.
The 2nd and 19, screening it to Bertrand-Dawn. A good game, touchdown receiving and running in the season opener against Ottawa, but used sparingly, and he's been injured for much of the season, but not much there. And 3rd and long coming up here. The Riders will have to punt it again.
Bomber defense gaining a little bit of momentum, as Luke talked about. Saskatchewan got their 1 touchdown in this football game when essentially gifted a short field right out of the gate. So Winnipeg's defense doing a good job again, playing against some backups, but also some very good depth players for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. I mean, it's not as if this is a skeleton roster.
No. The punt from Mirko for Trey Vavel at the 30. Here we go. Cuts it back. Good return. No slouch on special teams either.
You look like I'm done looking, but girl, the hard truth is that this night don't turn into 2. You look like I'm gonna wind up missing you.
That's the thing with Trey Vavel. I mean, he did have the fumble to start this game, but we've seen him take it all the way and set the tone for the Blue Bombers as well.
Yeah, he's been one of the great stories this season, certainly one of the leading candidates be named the CFL's most outstanding special teams player this year.
And had some time on defense as well, starting at boundary corner. So a running play, Brady Oliveira again, getting late in the half, just over a minute to play. A 1-point Bomber lead, just on that single point scored the last time they had the ball. Going over things on that return. C.J. Rivas. They had moved things around in the Riders secondary, had moved to safety after spending much of the season in nickel linebacker. Running again, plowing through down to about the 47 with 47 ticks left in the clock until halftime. And we do have a third down coming up here for Winnipeg, just a couple of yards shy.
They'll send out some big bodies, one of which is quarterback Chris Strevler. Take care of short yardage, looking to keep this drive going.
Lots of beef up front. Strevler on the keeper and didn't get much. He had to get to the 45. This wasn't just a yard. This was a couple of yards that they needed. Again, we'll see where they spot this defense coming onto the field here now, looking like a turnover on downs.
Yeah, I mean, so often you'll see a team try to sell that they got it with people pointing, offense hanging on the field, but almost right away on this one, the Bombers offense started marching off, their defense started marching on, as there was not a lot of movement to be had. You can even see the look on Strevler's face and kind of his body language suggesting he knew right away that that did not go as planned.
No, just about a yard short. Not close. It was a third and a good two. Antoine Brooks, you saw him reach around and help out in stopping Strevler. So we have a turnover on down. Saskatchewan football and their late chance to see if they can take the lead at halftime. Here's Jake Mayer, empty backfield quickly. It's caught, and just across the 50 is Tommy Neild. Second down, still ahead.
Just old school here with the quick pass, the entire offensive line cutting to make sure the defensive linemen are forced to keep their hands down. Good tact against Willie Jefferson and the Bombers. They know that quick pass is coming.
Need to get a little closer. Brett Lawther is hit from 59 this year. To the right again. That'll certainly get them close enough to try it. That's a Joe with his first catch of the evening with 17 seconds to go.
Yeah, Joe rejoining the Riders after training camp stint with the Indianapolis Colts this year. Great depth in terms of the Canadian receivers.
Down to the 42. Quickly again as the clock ticks. We got 5 seconds on it. A little closer. Set it up nicely for Lawther. Tommy Neild catching there. Field goal unit coming on. And a chance for the Riders to take the lead over the Blue Bombers at halftime.
And an interesting turn of events, because when the Bombers went for it on third down, it wasn't a gimme. A solid couple of yards they needed. They were within Sergio Castillo's field goal range. But you do fear the long return, particularly with Mario Alford. They decide to go for it, and in not getting it, gives Saskatchewan an opportunity to get those points instead.
From the 42 for the lead, and it is good. Brett Lawther, another field goal, 2 for 2 on the night. And a 13-11 lead for a Saskatchewan team that is not under pressure to win this game tonight, having already wrapped up first place in the West Division.
And there you see Lawther, as we talk about people who seem to be finding their stride at the right time coming down the stretch. Tough season for him, but he's been perfect in his last 6 quarters.
And Corey Mace should be encouraged anyway to see, especially what his defense has been able to do after a quick start for the Bombers offense. The Pokey Wilson touchdown and later a field goal. But since then, Saskatchewan's defense doing an excellent job, led by their man in the middle, Jameer Thurman, who is standing by now with Brett.
Jameer, your team opens the game with a turnover. Then the next possession, you get some great field position. What can you say about the special teams unit tonight?
I mean, they've been showing up. We've been talking about how we need a big play, and they made it.
Well, I know you've said you want to play spoiler to this Bombers team. How do you do that in the second half here?
We just got to continue to make plays, special teams, defense, offense, put some more points on the board, just executing, just doing our job of executing, and we'll come away with the win.
Thanks so much, Jameer.
Yep, thank you.
Tell me, would you wait for me? Baby, I'm a rolling stone. I got a lot of right in me, but I don't want to say this wrong. Tell me, would you stay with me? Maybe we can make this home. You should run away. Tell me, would you wait for me? Tell me, would you wait for me?
Halftime in Winnipeg, and the Riders, with nothing at stake in this game, are leading the Blue Bombers 13-11. The brightest spot for Winnipeg's offense, a 28-yard touchdown pass from Zach Collaros to Ontario Wilson, standing by now with Brett.
Ontario, we know how important it is to get the win here tonight. What was the biggest message to make a difference here in the second half?
Just make the plays that come to you and take advantage of your opportunity, because you don't get very many.
Well, it's hard to compete with the catch you had last week, but you do find yourself in the end zone again here tonight. Can you explain this connection you're having with Zach Collaros?
We're just getting better, getting more. He's getting more confident throwing to me every week since I've been back, and we're just getting a better connection. So everything's just going good right now.
Thanks so much, Ontario.
All right, thank you.
The Riders scored first. Bombers answered. Riders took the lead again. Bombers answered. Briefly had a 1-point lead, but late in the half after a turnover on downs, Saskatchewan with a 42-yard field goal by Brett Lawther. And here we are to start the second half. The Riders will get the football too. Sergio Castillo to kick it off from the Winnipeg 30. Second half underway. Friday night football in Winnipeg. Week 20. Mario Alford with the ball in the return. And another good return for Alford. Get it up close to the 40 for that Saskatchewan offense coming on the field, and Jake Mayer.
And this Winnipeg Blue Bomber defense, it's looking to keep Jake Mayer and the rest of this Sask offense in check. Getting a lot of pressure, some pass knockdowns, pretty good coverage. Again, first play is the result of the Bombers getting caught on their heels after the turnover. A little bit of an unexpected trick play with the flea flicker out of the gate. And then that limited traction for the Riders.
Led to a big pass interference, though. Fumbled ball. Bombers have it. Still scrambling for it. It's not done yet. Does Saskatchewan actually get it back? It is Winnipeg football. That's a turnover they desperately need. And they have it. It is Jaden Woodby with it. Ball fumbled in the exchange with Mayer right in the Rider backfield.
Yeah, it was that exchange between quarterback and running back. Whether Mayer wanted it handed off or whether he was thinking of pulling it with Tony Jones crashing off the edge. And Anderson held on a little bit too long. But either way, the ball comes free. And we talked earlier about the impact Jaden Woodby has had on this Winnipeg defense. He comes up with a big play here. Second half starting much like the first, but for the other team.
Yeah, at the 29 at Saskatchewan, so Winnipeg has a chance here. Golden opportunity, a hard hit, and Oliveira, and he just spins, sloughs it off, picks up 3 or 4 more yards to get close to another first down around the 20.
And no surprise plays off the turnover here. Just bread and butter offense. The Bombers getting the ball to Brady Oliveira on the ground.
And so it's a second and short. And short yardage unit with Chris Trevler is in. This time, though, only needing a yard at most. Last time out, late in the first half, they needed 2. They didn't get it. Turned it over. Trevler keeping it. It looks like he'll have more than enough to move the sticks. Keep this going on that second down and short. And the Bombers in great position to take their lead back in a game that, no, mathematically is not a must-win to make the playoffs, but it would certainly help their cause. And you consider playoff positioning in the West as well.
Well, Britt talked earlier about Mike O'Shea's philosophy that you're not going to wait for help. No one's going to help you. You just worry about the things you can control. And for Winnipeg Blue Bombers, that means do everything in your power to win your last couple games.
From the Saskatchewan 18 and a 1st and 10. And it is caught and down near the 10. And that's Jarrett Stearns. In some traffic, Stearns hangs on. 3rd game back after missing 4 with a shoulder injury.
And you'll see Stearns work into the picture from the right side of your screen here. Malik Carney doing a good job there not to crash on that run fake, keeping Zach Collaros in check, forcing him to get that ball out quickly.
So pickup of 6, 2nd and 4, or call it 3 at the Saskatchewan 11. Just nosing up near there. Stearns, the ex-Rider, got it down close to a touchdown in the first half. Set up goal to go. Collaros flushed out, pump fake, and he gets tackled nicely. It is Antoine Brooks Jr. coming in and taking him down for a loss of a couple of yards back at the Saskatchewan 15, and the field goal unit will come on now on 3rd down.
And this is a good job by Brooks out in space. Zach Collaros is trying to get around the corner here and turn this one north-south. Brooks takes out the ankles, makes sure he gets the quarterback wrapped up to force this field goal attempt.
Sergio Castillo, 1 kick, a 12-yarder. So a 2nd field goal try. Castillo can hit the long ones, 50 plus, but it's been the short one so far. Another important 3 points though to put Winnipeg back on top. 3rd and final regular season meeting between these 2 Western rivals. Jake Mayer coming up for the Riders. Another NFL regular season game in London, England, across the pond international game. It's the Rams at 4-2 and a 3-way tie for the top of the NFC West up against the Jacksonville Jags, also at 4-2 and a game behind Indy in the AFC South. Big football there. Big football here, too. Hey, what's up with the mascot here?
Hey, Seabear plays for keeps.
Does. No flag. No flag.
This guy only knows one speed.
We didn't get a final score on that one. Played at the half. Here's Jake Mayer. High snap quickly. And off to the right. It's Sean Bain. And he patiently waits and finds a little bit of room up the sideline. And that pickup on 1st down for Saskatchewan.
You know, people talk a little bit about Saskatchewan guys in the lineup. They have nothing to play for, yada, yada, yada. I think some of the guys in Saskatchewan, given the depth of this team, particularly some of the offensive skill positions, I think these guys are competing for playoff spots, for spots on the playoff roster for that West Division final. Sean Bain being one of those guys.
Had been their top receivers you saw a couple of years ago. They are deep in that position and need to be right now as well. There's another one too. Del Duncan Busby, very deep in Canadian receiving talent as well. A flag is up. You got Duncan Busby, Sam Emilus not playing tonight. Kean Schaefer-Baker, we haven't seen him have a target tonight.
Yeah, Schaefer-Baker seeing limited duty.
Illegal contact on receiver. Winnipeg number 33. 10-yard penalty will result in a 1st down.
You see 2nd-year man Del Duncan Busby, who made the grab there. Duncan Busby, one of a lot of young Canadian guys who actually went down to the States to play prep school basketball, where hoops was sort of their primary sport. Got down there, found some success playing football as well, and found more opportunities in this game. Duncan Busby, 3rd-round pick a year ago.
It's in the hands of Mario Anderson. Was injured earlier and back in and across midfield on that 1st down play. Gain of 3.
Nice defensive play again from that Bomber crew, getting to Anderson before he could get up ahead of steam. Mario Houston stepping in off the corner to make the play.
Came into the game with 17 carries, 129 yards only, and a couple of touchdowns, but it was 2 touchdowns scored in one big day against Winnipeg back in Labor Day at Mosaic. Stepping up is Mayer. Wants to dish it off, but instead he takes off. And Jake Mayer, not enough for a first down. He gets it just shy of the Bomber 50. So we do have a 3rd and long coming up, and looks like a punt coming up here with Jesse Mirko coming on.
And Jake Mayer made the decision pretty quickly on this one that nothing was open. His best option was to tuck that one and run, get what he could. Comes up just short.
Seen Mayer take off a few times. Couple of carries in this game. There's Jesse Mirko. Took over the punting duties from Joe Couch earlier this season. Another Australian punter. The Pro Kick Academy from the 50. And Vavel watching that one. Just heads down beautifully, down around the 2. Ruled out of bounds. Nice October Friday night in Winnipeg. In the middle of Grey Cup week. 4 weeks from tonight. A look at where the Canadian receivers are ranking in the Canadian Football League this season. Of course, Justin McInnes and Keandre Smith. Nick Dembski not far behind, just over 1,000. Hey, Brett, Bombers are missing him tonight.
Definitely, and Mike O'Shea said that he's an extremely key piece of our offense, which you're seeing with those stats. He said this one hurts. Now Zach Collaros echoed that and actually admitted it makes things more difficult on him when he's not in the lineup. And guys, I felt like when we went into this game tonight, we were going to see 2 different Bombers perhaps. Maybe the one that is noticeable that he's absent, or maybe one where guys step up in his absence. And that was something Collaros also echoed, saying he needs every guy on the field to know their job here tonight. So Dwayne, I'm going to let you be the judge.
Yeah. Well, I remember, talking to Collaros a couple of weeks ago, but Nick Dembski, he said, and not shy about it either, said he is the best player on our team.
Yeah, our best football player. Nick Dembski, terrific veteran. Originally a Saskatchewan Roughrider first-round draft pick back in 2015. Made his way back home, originally from Winnipeg.
And you saw the injury of the hamstring. It was actually on the play, one of the interceptions in Edmonton. J.J. Ross got it. A little bit short for Dembski, and you can see him pulling up lame there. And out with that hamstring injury. Ball comes out, caught and down, and Carrick Wheatfall. The punting unit will come on here for Winnipeg.
Yeah, Winnipeg, we've talked a lot about the depth in the Saskatchewan receiving core. Winnipeg has been fortunate when you consider the fact Nick Dembski is out of the lineup. Dalton Schoen has missed most of the season. They were without Pokey Wilson for half the season as he was exploring NFL opportunities. Carrick Wheatfall has spent time on the injured list.
So it said no catch. See that ball coming out intended for Wheatfall. And we see a challenge flag.
Is challenging the previous play. They believe there was defensive pass interference on their receiver number 88. The play will be reviewed.
Saying there was interference on Carrick Wheatfall. Shorter catch here if it would have been, but no. But if it is a penalty, it's a first down Bombers.
Well, Carrick Wheatfall out to the left side of your screen, the intended receiver on this one. There you see contact comes just before the ball gets there. We'll wait for the interpretation here from the officials.
Upon review, there was defensive pass interference, Saskatchewan number 29. This will be a 10-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's Saskatchewan 29, by the way. The debut of Nafis Lyon, who started his career with Edmonton, had a Grey Cup winning season with the Montreal Alouettes. And now on with Saskatchewan for some depth in their secondary. He gets flagged there on the challenge. So it gets up to the 15. And Bomber football leading by a point. They get to continue this drive instead of having to punt it away. Successful challenge. Faking and thrown in behind now to Stearns, who manages to get a yard. Good tackle coming in there. And that is Nafis Lyon made the play.
Yeah, you mentioned Nafis Lyon picked up during this period of spate of injuries for the Saskatchewan Roughriders on the back end. Good veteran guy, 5 years in the Canadian Football League. Just tough getting on the field in a deep Montreal defense, so he was expendable. The Riders happy to bring him in.
Limits him just to a gain of a yard. Pressure coming at Collaros. He steps up, gets free for a moment, but not enough for a first down. Gets across the 20 and gets tackled still about 3 yards shy, and he is slow to get up.
Yeah, Collaros going down hard here as he gets tripped up on the play, but then you get in the obvious pass situation. The Riders with their ears pinned back there. Sending a couple of linebackers, Allen and Miller.
And Sheehan to punt. And he chases Alford back inside his 40. Mario Alford with the ball. 45. Good tackle coming in there on teams by Jalen Smith, the rookie Bomber. Just up across the 46. 14-13. The Riders trail in this game. Resting a lot of players, having clinched first in the West. You can see there's a little tender there for Zach Collaros off of the Bombers sideline.
And obviously from a Winnipeg point of view, when they challenged for pass interference, they're looking to keep the drive going, but part of that had to do with field position as well as just getting a few more yards if they were going to be forced to punt the ball. They didn't want to hand Saskatchewan 3 points.
From the Saskatchewan 47, that's the first catch of this game by the veteran receiver Mitch Picton, who takes it to about the 52. And gain of 5 yards, 2nd and 5 coming up here for Saskatchewan.
Mitch Picton, 8th year with the Riders. Longest serving member of that receiving corps, a local guy, played for the Regina Rams, University of Regina. Originally a 5th-round pick back in 2017.
Approaching midfield on the 2nd down and 5. Off to the left. Caught. First down. Back-to-back plays to Mitch Picton. Cross midfield down around the 51 of Winnipeg.
You'll see Picton lined up out wide, top receiver on your screen. Jamal Parker playing off a little bit. He's just going to curl it in front of him. Get that first down yardage. Reset the sticks and away they go.
Riders have a stable of experienced receivers, even with their top 3 not playing in this game tonight. Time for Mayer. Can't find anyone. Jake Mayer finally does throw it, and right down to the sideline, and caught there by Picton. They discuss, and it looks like a 3rd straight catch for Mitch Picton, and this is the biggest one.
Yeah, and this is a fantastic play by Picton. Watch the feet as he keeps it planted, just leans his body. Toes remaining in bounds, even as he goes down.
Beautifully done there by Mitchell Picton. And whistle blowing with the snap of the football and a flag coming out just inside the Winnipeg 30.
Picton, another guy who's missed a chunk of time with
illegal
injury.
Procedure. Saskatchewan 62.
Take a look again at the 3rd and most impressive of Picton's catches on this drive. But, you know, another one of those guys, he wants to be on the field when they play that West Final. So trying to make the most of the playing time he's getting now with others out of the lineup.
They are rich at receiver if everybody is healthy. 3-man rush. Winnipeg 35. That's caught, and that time's another young Canadian receiver in Duncan Busby with another catch, and down close to another first down, Saskatchewan.
And you look at this depth. We talked about it a little bit last week as the Riders were playing the Toronto Argonauts, but in that game, they dressed 9 receivers in that game, all of whom were veteran guys. Like, none of them were rookies, all 2nd year and above. And that was with Dante Myers, already a 1,000-yard receiver this year, out of the lineup. and Sean Bain, a guy who's been their leading receiver in the past, out of the lineup last week.
So here we go for the Winnipeg 21. 2nd and 1, no. Going backwards that time, James Vaughters is the one spearheading that tackle in the rain here in Winnipeg. Lost yardage, and 3rd down coming up here.
You see Vaughters lined up on the inside on this play and just manages to come off his block as Anderson's trying to get going in the backfield.
Brent Lother back on. He is 2 for 2. As mentioned, he was 5 for 5 last week in their victory in Regina over the Argos. This is a seesaw game. Close. To give Saskatchewan the lead again. And this one only from the 23. And Lother is 3 for 3. 8 for 8 in his last 2 games. Getting late in the 3rd quarter, and Saskatchewan's back on top. As the panel said, you wouldn't know who needs the win and who doesn't. The way this one's going tonight, Saskatchewan Roughriders back on top. Back in Winnipeg, Jason Hogan, the offensive coordinator for the Blue Bombers, and they got some work to do, Luke Wilson.
Yeah, and it's been a very deflating performance so far by this offense. You know, you look at some of the things, and when they go and buzz this film, they're going to say, man, we shot ourselves in the foot. And again, it's really self-inflicted. I go back to the 2nd quarter here. You get a big pass play, and it's a pre-snap penalty. You can't have this. Again, this is a team that you're hoping makes a big run in the playoffs. So that jammed you. At the end of the half, it's a 3rd and 2. You got Strebler. This is their bread and butter with this guy. You get stopped and leads the points other way. You get the big turnover in the 3rd quarter, and it's 2nd and 3 on the 10-yard line, and we get sacked. I didn't love the play call there. Again, you're down 2 right now, and your offense needs to get out of its own way. I really think that this is a key drive here because they've done some very strange things today on offense.
When you're looking to try and just get some momentum, get some traction, find a little bit of a rhythm, what kind of stuff do you like in terms of play calling?
To me, Dwayne, you go to your best guy. So give the ball to Brady Oliveira in any way, shape, or form. Get the rock in his hands.
Well, he has 12 carries for 52 yards, but not getting it here. And that's Tui Eli, eligible receiver downfield. He got a touchdown pass in BC way back in week 3. So they've gone to 65 before. Don't adjust your set, Ian.
Defensive offside. Saskatchewan number 95. 5-yard penalty. It remains 1st down.
So it's a penalty anyway on the incompletion.
Keep an eye out to that left edge of your screen.
But look at Tui running that route.
Well, you know, that was shades of you laying out for that ball in the TSN parking lot years ago.
Our resident star receiver, Luke Wilson. Luke, any thoughts on Tui's route running in the rain there?
I'll be honest, I love the effort. But boys, this is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I feel for him because he's obviously the big man. He's wide open.
Procedure.
And imagine when the ball's thrown, he's just
Winnipeg
like, oh no, it's out of reach.
5-yard penalty.
I love the effort, but not the smoothest thing I've ever.
Well, as said, Tui's got hands. I mean, we saw him catch a touchdown, but you got to get close enough to the ball there.
Yeah, Zach's got to lay that up a little more so he can run under it. Look at him shaking his head. He's mad. He's mad.
But you wanted to see the Bomber offense try something a little more innovative, right?
I did, but I was hoping to go through Brady, not necessarily.
Right, exactly. Well, here we go now, and it's knocked down at the line of scrimmage. And so, just like that for Winnipeg's offense, as Luke talked about, things stalling. Well, they did have the penalty before, so 2nd down now.
You get the feeling, you know, going back to the pass intended to Tui Eli, where he's running basically a corner route. An offensive lineman running a corner route that you feel, I don't want to call it desperation because creativity is part of play calling and operating an offense in the CFL, but it kind of shows they're trying to go to some lengths to try and get a spark here.
Pressure, and Collaros gets it away, nearly intercepted by A.J. Allen right at midfield, and Collaros is slow to get up again. There was heat coming right up the middle as he got hit as he just got rid of the football on that rider blitz, and Collaros looks to be hurting again.
And you're going to see Aubrey Miller, number 47, coming on the blitz here. Getting some action on these passing downs. Unblocked man right up the gut. You got to take care of those A gaps. Short path to the quarterback, A.J. Allen. It would have been 3 picks in 3 games for A.J. had he been able to hold on to that one.
Jamison Sheehan with the punt. No doubt slick conditions down in the field now with all this rain coming down. Alford on the return up around the 30 is Kolaris, and not the first time tonight we've seen him head to the sideline. A little shaken up as he is right now.
Yeah, took a pretty good shot. He's completely exposed trying to deliver that throw as he gets hit with about 230 pounds.
Tough night for Winnipeg's offense. That's Saskatchewan. Now, certainly don't tell the Riders this is a nothing game. They lead it right now by 2. Got momentum on their side. Jake Mayer been eating up lately too. There is Tommy Neal. A catch and a first down across the 45. That's 11 straight completions all of a sudden for Jake Mayer.
Jake Mayer gets his turn at getting blasted here. As Cam Lawson comes up the gut and takes him down hard. But not before completing that pass. Tommy Neal for the first down.
Gets it up to the 47 now. Clock ticking, under a minute to go until 3/4 time. Tight ball game. Riders looking for their 13th win of the season. Lead the way by 2, and they have the ball. And it's Mayer. Completes another one. That's 12 straight completions for Jake Mayer. That one to Dell Duncan Busby. Second down coming up.
And again, we talk so much with our focus on the starters who aren't playing in a situation like this. I mean, another one of the important elements of this is, anything happens to Trevor Harris in the playoffs, you want Jake Mayer to be sharp, to have some recent game action, etc. So important for him and other backups to get these reps in now.
Throwing it again, and that time no. It's a matter of Willie Jefferson standing in the way, as he's wont to do in these situations. That one is knocked down. Third down coming up, last play. Third quarter. Riders head to the 4th with a 2-point lead. The numbers through 3. Saskatchewan's not only hanging around with a depleted lineup, they're leading the Bombers 16-14, 40, only 3 points each scored in that third quarter.
Yeah, and I mean, for Saskatchewan, obviously, it doesn't matter in the big picture to them. They want to play well, guys want to be sharp, get their reps, etc. But obviously, there is that sense of urgency, especially now as we head into the final quarter, for a Winnipeg Blue Bomber team who's playoff, not just playoff standing. I mean, they haven't clinched yet.
No.
Edmonton is still alive, and so, I mean, it's a matter of securing that spot that is a huge priority. It's not just about trying to, whether it's a matter of avoiding the crossover or what have you.
Well, Mike O'Shea had said beforehand, and he doesn't care what other teams do. He wants to take care of business themselves, but if this continues, it may just matter. Especially what happens tonight with Edmonton at BC Place. Of course, if the Elks lose, regardless, Winnipeg is in. If they don't win this game, they would be a crossover team. They'd be heading east for the playoffs. Lots of possibilities still to go in the West here in the second last weekend. A beautiful punt there by Mirko. Jesse Mirko to pin the Bombers deep. 13 win seasons. The last one under Craig Dickinson, 13-5 back in 2019. They were first in the West then, and then you're going back. Their greatest season, 1970, when they finished 14-2 and then got upset in the playoffs by the Calgary Stampeders.
And Corey Mace trying to join the club. What has been a great sophomore season for him as a Canadian Football League head coach.
Just got a new deal?
Yes, sir. He and general manager Jeremy O'Day with well-deserved contract extensions.
Kicks in after the 2026 season. So Collaros faking the handoff, dumping it off to Stearns, who gets tripped up and manages to get up to, well, close to the 9. It's still second down and a good 5 to go here for Winnipeg.
Yeah, Jesse Mirko has had a couple of terrific punts here for the Saskatchewan Roughriders in this second half that, you know, for a Winnipeg team that's trying to finally get on top, maybe put together a touchdown drive, at the very least a scoring drive here, but Mirko's making them do it the hard way, having to go over 100 yards if they're going to get anything to.
Call it 2nd and 6. Pressure in Collaros, who tries to escape. He doesn't get enough for a first down, and they're deep in their zone. Shy of the 10, well shy of a first down. Punting unit to come on. And Jamison Sheehan will have to kick it away from his own end zone. So they have just had so much trouble, especially in the second half, as Luke talked about getting anything going on offense.
Well, and as you take a look at Collaros being brought down yet again, you know, I mean, the advantage that Mirko had punting based on field position over Jamison Sheehan, Sheehan can't put it out of bounds.
No.
Right? In the middle of the field, you can't. So he has to risk a Mario Alford return, whereas Trey Babel hasn't been part of the mix on the last couple punts.
And Alford on the hop. He takes it around the 45 of the Riders and up across midfield. Tackled there by Jalen Smith. Clock is ticking on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers on this night anyway. 16-14, Saskatchewan with the lead. Lots going on this time of year. NBA too. Tangerine Raptors basketball, TSN. Right around the corner. Get ready. It all begins Friday, October 24th. It is coming up. Next week, Bucks play the Raptors. Milwaukee Bucks. Toronto Raptors, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on TSN. Speaking of basketball, you see Willie Jefferson. Don't know how much basketball he played, but that 6'7" frame be a nightmare for quarterbacks when he gets those hands up. Jack Cohn out of Notre Dame, 3rd on the depth chart, although 2nd on the depth chart tonight. The backup to Jake Mayer, and he's getting his taste of action now for the Riders.
And an opportunity to get a little bit of a look, extended look, running the full offense rather than just being the short yardage quarterback as we've seen for the last couple of weeks. Veterans Jake Mayer and Trevor Harris over on the sidelines.
Well, Mark Mueller had said, nice to have a backup in Mayer who's got 46 CFL starts under his belt. And now Cohn getting a taste of the action and coming in. Cam Allen on a Joe and does a good job getting in front and knocking that one down.
Yeah, good break on the ball. Joe, number 80. Great jump there from Cam Allen. Guy who seemed to sort of solidify that free safety spot for the Bombers.
In his first year out of Purdue. And so 2 and out for Cohn in his first appearance in this game in the 3rd and 12. It's Mirko again. Lower punt. And reasonably well placed. Wanted it a little bit deeper though as it heads about at the 23. This field position game here in the 4th quarter. 11.5 minutes to go as Zach Collaros heading back on his Bombers, still trailing by 2 points.
Collaros is taking a few shots in this one from that Rider D.
Well, this is the 3rd time these teams have met this season, and on Labor Day he was sacked 5 times, and that didn't even tell the whole story. He was hurried, he was hit. Saskatchewan's defensive line, talk about a unit that has depth as well. They were showing it on that day. Making life hard for him. Winnipeg 24, 1st and 10. Deep shot, Collaros. He was looking there for Wheatfall, But there was coverage in behind him. That's Sheldrick Redwine, first-year rider out of the University of Miami, and he was the closest one to it.
Yeah, Redwine. As you watch the receiver coming out of the slot. Guy who's just been in the building for a couple of weeks for the Riders, but quickly pressed into starting duty. We've talked about those injuries in the secondary. He's been asked to step in for last year's top defensive player, Roland Milligan.
2nd and 10 at the Winnipeg 24. Off to the left, and no, it looked like he just got away from Collaros there. Not even close. Down into the turf. 3rd and 10 coming up. And a frustrating night continues now for Zach Collaros, who is mentioned, by the way, among the Bombers missing, their star receiver Nick Dembski out with a hamstring injury.
And almost looked as if his arm may have been nicked there as he looked to throw that one.
To no avail. Jamison Sheehan on, and a good punt. Inside the 30 is Alford. And a good tackle. Special teams as well from Michael Ayers, the special teams tackles leader for the Bombers. This Friday night in Winnipeg, the home side still trails 4th quarter. I see the Saskatchewan Roughriders have adopted a Dwayne Ford saying, "Let it eat." That's the offense's motto, Brett.
Absolutely. That is for the quarterback room, at least. And with their OC, Mark Mueller, you may notice in that photo, that was after they clinched the West Division last week. Now, I asked Trevor Harris, what does this mean? And he said the best way to describe it, you're on a golf course. You're 250 out. Are you grabbing your 5-iron and maybe just letting it go a little short? Or are you grabbing your 3-wood and letting it eat? And he said Mark Mueller's challenging them this year. Throw some deep balls. Let it eat. Now, they did even get shirts made that say "Let it eat" on it. Mark Mueller told us he's convinced they shrunk his in the wash before they gave it to him because apparently it's just a little tight.
Too much eating? Here we go now. It's incomplete. They are evicted. Well, we saw Let It Eat put to work in the first play from scrimmage. The flea flicker, the deep shot, ended up getting big yardage and a pass interference.
Yeah, definitely putting their words to action this season.
And we like those words, don't we?
Oh, no question. I like the way they think.
Well, you'd think that way, literally and figuratively, wouldn't you? I mean, you like that. I mean, in football terms too, right?
The gist of it from a football point of view, go big or go home.
Yeah.
And the Saskatchewan Roughriders have demonstrated they ain't going home anytime soon.
2nd and 10 now. Jack Cohn at quarterback, Saskatchewan. Deep. And a little struggle for it. Jamal Parker for Winnipeg and Mitch Picton for Saskatchewan. And the Riders think the possession should belong to the green and white as they discuss. And yes, indeed, Saskatchewan football.
And outside receiver here is working down that sideline. Parker goes up and gets a hand in there.
Simultaneous catch goes to the offense and Mitch Picton. So all the way down in that one big play. Cohn, biggest completion. And handing off then to Mario Anderson. Cohn, as mentioned, was 2nd on the depth tonight behind Jake Mayer. And there's Mitch Picton, who's had a good second half.
This was Jack Cohn as if on cue, letting it eat. Airing that one out and letting Mitch Picton go and get it. Much to the delight of tonight's 3rd-string quarterback, Trevor Harris.
Been a while since Trevor Harris has been a 3rd stringer, but method to Corey Mace's madness. Keep him healthy, get him healthier, rest it up. The game that matters most. A few weeks away, the Western Final at Mosaic in Regina. And that one win, if they can get it there, they get back here to Winnipeg for the Grey Cup. Pressure, Cohn got rid of it barely. Intended for Bain. The heat was on. Parker coming in, right in on Cohn, who barely got to throw that football.
Yeah, pressure coming from all directions here. You'll see Reddick Cramdy as well. Number 6 on the edge. Comes unblocked. Cam Allen, rather. Excuse me, 0. The safety down low.
And so Brett Lother has come on. He's had a perfect night. And he will attempt one from 49 yards away. Said his longest in the season is 59. Looking for a little bit more comfort. It's drifting right, and it is wide. So the miss from 49 by Lother, and Vavel brings it out. Here comes Trey Vavel. The 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, and up to the 50 is Vavel. So he gets it back to the point where Lother kicked the football. And a good break for the Bombers. They certainly need one. They still trail, but still only down 2.
Trey Vavel providing a little taste of what he's been doing all season long for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. The wind pushes that one just right. 49-yard attempt for Brett Lother. 64-yard return for Trey Vavel back out to the Winnipeg 50-yard line. So gaining a few yards in field position on that one.
Well, they need at least a field goal to take the lead again. And here's a sweep with Gavin Cobb. Inserted in with the injury to Nick Dembski, and Cobb gets it up to midfield. A gain of 5 for Winnipeg. Look at the difference. First to second half. Claris not looking bad at all. Opening drive of the game was a touchdown drive, but things have really gone cold here in the second.
Yeah, just struggling to get anything going here in the second half of this ball game. You know, again, I go back to Luke's suggestion. Brady Oliveira is your key guy. Want to try and lean on him a little bit, whether by land or by air.
Well, 12 carries, 52 yards. That's it for Oliveira. And throwing again is Claris. The man in his face, blocking his vision there, and he's down again. Got hit as he threw it, and nowhere near the intended receiver. It's a little silly by Brooks.
And you see Brooks down towards the bottom of your screen. Number 33. A little delayed on the blitz, but comes free. Gets a piece of the quarterback, but even more importantly, impacting the throw, preventing a completion.
And so despite that great return by Vavel on the missed field goal, the Bombers still have to punt it away. It's Rider football again, and there's a return for Mario Alford up to around the 25 for Saskatchewan, past the halfway point of the fourth quarter. 7:03 on the clock, and it remains a Rider lead. That defense making life so tough for Zach Claris, and not playing like a team that has nothing to play for. Miller on the blitz. Saw that earlier. They've been getting to Claris in this game.
Well, they sure have. And, you know, defensively, you know, most of the guys Saskatchewan's sitting are on the offensive side of the ball. So what has been arguably the best defense in the Canadian Football League is still that, and very difficult for even a veteran like Zach Claris to play against.
Jack Cohn back at quarterback for the Riders. Gets that into Mitch Picton, and a good pickup on first down with Demario Houston right there, but they're good play in a second and short coming up. Yeah, you talk about the defensive rankings this season, but just look, and they have been, you're right, a lot of key players in, but no Roland Milligan tonight, no Micah Johnson. There are a few players missing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely, but just in terms of numbers, much more of the resting of people happening on the offensive side of the ball, and the defense, Corey Mace's baby, is delivering.
Absolutely, sure is, and they've been dominating this year. Thrown again, and no, incomplete. Reaching down for it was Duncan Busby. Would have had the first down instead. We got a 3rd and 2 coming up here for the Riders, and the punting unit will be coming on.
We saw a little bit of Trey Vavel magic moments ago on the missed field goal return. That ball's probably getting a little slick to handle down there with a steady rain. We'll have to have Luke and Britt pull up the truck for us so we don't get wet on the way out.
Here we are sheltered. They're down there in the rain. We're hoping they help us out, right? Is that what
well, they're already wet.
Yeah, true enough. True enough. We're thinking of you, Luke, Britt. You don't want us to get wet. So Riders punting it. Coming up, part 2 of the doubleheader. BC plays Edmonton Elks They've been in must-win mode for a few weeks now. Here's Vavel. 45. Turns that corner. A stiff arm there for DeMarcus Fields, but another good return. But yeah, that's coming up. Part 2 of the doubleheader of Friday night football. Another big one in this West where so much is still up for grabs. The BC Lions have been red hot lately, and Edmonton has to win. It was that way last week and the week before. And we can tell you this, even if Winnipeg loses, they can clinch a playoff spot if Edmonton loses. However, in that case, if the Bombers don't win, the best they can do is the crossover. If Edmonton loses, that playoff spot they clinch would be heading off to either Hamilton or Montreal, that Eastern playoff.
So many intertwined moving parts.
There really are. Garrett Wheatfall stays in bounds. Gets inside the 35. Lyon finally takes him down. Looked earlier like Wheatfall might be just heading out of bounds, but cuts it back up and another good pickup.
Yeah, he starts off in tight to the formation, just makes a quick break to the flat here. Running through an arm tackle. Big play as it puts the Bombers in field goal range already. An opportunity to potentially grab the lead in this ball game. Well, it's just been an uphill battle throughout this second half for them offensively.
One of the rare bright spots, that play in the second half for Winnipeg. Play action fake. Collaros buys some time. Intercepted. DeMarcus Fields. Coverage on Jareth Stearns. He arrived later. He picked it off. And that snuffs out any promise of a Bomber drive to retake the lead.
We mentioned DeMarcus Fields, the guy who has been the steadying force in terms of this lineup, always at that field half spot. Consistent starter there. Stearns coming from the bottom of your screen, working across. Fields recognizes it. Coming up from his deep drop to make a play on that football. And the interceptions that haunted Winnipeg a week ago.
Here's Jack Cohn, Rider football. He takes off. Cohn on the run. And a good run and get up across the 25, close to a first down for Saskatchewan. Second interception of the season for the second-year product out of Texas Tech, DeMarcus Fields.
Yeah, enjoying the moment. Big play there. So you see Stearns climbing on his route, but Fields, who is already deep, able to step forward and make a play. You can see all of it unfolding in front of him.
Jack Cohn, who has taken over the short yardage duties from Tommy Stevens already, stays in at short yardage to get the first down.
Timer, please put 324. 324. Timer, please. Thank you.
Fields is just off the right edge of your screen. Stearns working across, and that ball has to get sort of dropped in there. As Antoine Brooks was underneath on the intended receiver, Stearns. So Collaros has to clear him. It ends up being a tight window once Fields steps up and closes that down.
And you talked about Fields earlier being really the steady one, the rock of that secondary that's had a lot of injuries. Milligan out and Marcus Sales resting him.
Yeah,
Nelson Macombo.
We mentioned Tavon Campbell had missed a stretch, just coming back to the lineup tonight.
There's Cohn, first down, wobbly pass, nearly picked. That's Reddick Ramsey. Their nickel linebacker coming in, got his hands on it, but can't hang on. Second down.
Yeah, that one definitely didn't come out of the chamber quite the way Cohn intended. I mentioned earlier, perhaps the ball's getting a little greasy down there with the rain coming down for much of this second half.
A steady downpour here at Princess Auto Stadium. The Bombers finish off their regular season next week against the Montreal Alouettes, and we're still not officially confirming what's gone on in the East with the Alouettes still having an outside shot at first place. Hamilton in the driver's seat. They have the bye this week. They host Ottawa next week. Alouettes taking on the Red Blacks tomorrow if they win. And in the East, it'll come down to the final weekend. Hamilton, Ottawa, and the Alouettes after that taking on the Bombers here. Who knows what'll be decided even then?
Yeah, I mean, just a handful of certainties now, right? We know Saskatchewan, Hamilton, and Montreal will host playoff games.
That's about it. Cone evades the pressure, but again, the pass didn't have much on it as it sails incomplete, and the punting unit again comes on for the Riders. Still protecting that 2-point lead, 16-14. That's it. 3 points each in this rainy second half.
And the Bomber defense perhaps getting a little tired of seeing their quarterback on the ground. Delivers a little bit of payback there, getting after the youngster Jack Cone.
And next week, the Riders host the BC Lions. We still don't know what that'll mean for BC as they're hoping to host a playoff game. Taking it on the run is Vavel, and a good return again up to midfield. So more good field position here for Zach Collaros and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Last time out, had something going until it was snuffed out by an interception by DeMarcus Fields. Winnipeg, though, still has a chance. 3 minutes to go, down by 2 with the ball. As we look at the West standings, in particular here, what we can tell you is Saskatchewan gets first place. That's done. Everything else after that, we can't tell you. And the oddity here, Dwayne, is even if Winnipeg wins tonight, they don't clinch a playoff spot. And yet, even if they lose, they do clinch if Edmonton loses tonight in BC.
Explain that to the people, Rod.
I can't explain it. Well, it would take a little while. Ball bursting through. There's Brady Oliveira. Trying to drive down to a field goal range, and they're just about there now for Castillo. Down 2 points, 2:47 on the clock. And Luke talked about it. They got to get more to Oliveira.
Yeah, I mean, you need a big play. You need to get things going. This has been your bread and butter guy, the straw that stirs the drink for the last few years here in Winnipeg.
And there's Castillo. He's had a perfect night. Short field goals. 3 for 3. And looks like he'll be in range to have a chance here, although pushed back is Oliveira that time. Riders swarming him. Ali Saad, the rookie tackle, in on that play as they see lost yardage here. A second and long coming up here for Winnipeg.
Assad, certainly a guy making his case for a little more playing time as the Bombers, or excuse me, as the Riders head towards that West final.
4 straight years the Bombers have hosted the West final. They've gone to the Grey Cup 5 years in a row. That first time they were a third place team. Here's the blitz coming, setting up a screen now to Oliveira. Head of steam. Keeps his feet until he can get down shy of the 30, but the 31, so shy of a first down where they'll spot it, but it will be a third and short coming up here for Winnipeg.
A nice execution here for the Bombers. Zach Collaros, the hungry defensive front that's been at him all day. They take the bait, get lured upfield as he just drops it over the top to Oliveira for a nice pickup just shy of that first down marker.
So 3rd and inches. Certainly not thinking of Castillo yet. Thinking end zone. But first thinking first down. Strebler doesn't need much this time around. Chris Strebler and appears to get it. Crossing the 30. Set to get to the 30 for the first. So here's Winnipeg late in this one. 1:35.
Strebler just plunges it into that A gap. Right beside his center, Chris Kolinkowski, to pick up the required yardage.
In better position to ultimately win this game despite trailing for much of this second half is Winnipeg. They don't need it to be pretty. They just need the W. Satch 29 through again. A little bit more as Oliveira works it down around the 25.
Well, a couple of Oliveira runs and a screen pass to the star running back, and Bombers finally look like they have a little traction here in this second half.
And he's up to 71 yards rushing and 29 yards receiving, so he's at an even 100 combined. Brady Oliveira. Under a minute to go, clock ticking down.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to try and use as much of this clock as they can.
See if Castillo can win it for them. Oliveira again pushing afterwards. Gabe Wallace and Aubrey Miller, but it's down to the 20. And a third down here, third and short, but knowing that the field goal would give them the lead. And not taking any chances is Mike O'Shea now. No short yardage unit. It's Sergio Castillo coming on, looking for the kick that'll put Winnipeg ahead.
Well, big drive exactly when they needed it for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Now up to Castillo in this field goal unit to ensure that they get the required points.
Mentioned Castillo, he did 2 for 2, actually 2 field goals tonight, 2 short ones. And that third one looming large right now, and not a big distance either. It'll be spotted by Sheehan around the 28 of Saskatchewan. So 28-yard try. This is for the lead with 45 seconds on the clock. Kicked. Good. Perfect night continues for Castillo. We do have a flag out, however. The Bombers do celebrate taking the 1-point lead, but let's wait and see what this flag is about. Shane Gauthier says it's against the Riders as they discuss, and Corey May's arguing right now, or discussing at the very least, but it looks like the Bombers hang on to the field goal by Castillo to take the 17-16 lead with 42 seconds on the clock.
Keep an eye on the right side of your screen here. Second player in is going to go airborne. The reason Shane Gauthier knew what was happening is he's the guy getting climbed on here in what appears to be a pyramiding call. Basically, you can't use another player to boost yourself up in the air.
So, yeah, forget the field goal then.
Pyramiding on the play on Saskatchewan. This is a 10-yard penalty that will result in a first down.
So take the 3 off the board, and the Bombers still trail by 2, but they do get the first down. They work closer, and I guess when you look at the clock, makes sense because it's still too much time. The Riders could drive back. We've seen that many times, drive back and then kick a winning field goal.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to, as I said earlier, take as much time as possible off here. You're pretty confidently within Sergio Castillo's field goal range. You just got to protect the ball.
Yeah, so not thinking going for a touchdown or anything here. It's just taking more time off as they go into victory formation, even though they don't have the victory yet. They're down by 2 points, but in great position to get that winning field goal.
Yeah, a very unique situation to see a team that's behind in the game. You know, I mean, usually you're still handing the ball to your running back, but
so not victory formation, it's we're in good position to win formation.
Yeah, setting up victory formation.
2-point difference right now. Just kill more time. Claris, took a little
centered it up.
Yeah, centered it up a bit. And
yeah,
gets another second
from that close, right? The angle makes a difference. For Castillo looking at those goalposts, that's a heads up play by Zach. You could see him looking back at the sideline, I think, getting the his marching orders there.
So it doesn't look like a 13th win coming up tonight for Corey Mace with one game next week against BC, but they're still leading now. Put down just outside the 20 this time. And another shot for Castillo. From the 12, from the 23, all short field goal tries for Sergio Castillo. And centered up pretty nicely here. With the clock ticking down, looks like the final play of this game for the win, for the W. And the W gets it. Much needed for their playoff hopes. Castillo with the walk-off field goal. And Winnipeg salvages its third meeting of the season against Corey Mace's Saskatchewan's Roughriders. Now it's time for Wilson's game ball. Luke, what do you got?
Yeah, Rod, I'm going a little off script here, and I'm giving it to the Bombers faithful. The fans here tonight have been incredible, and it was not the most electric game ever, but I'll tell you this, it's been loud in here. It's a cold night, it's rainy, and the fans have been in it from start to finish. And I gotta say, I'm impressed. I mean, it's gotten to the point where even the youth football, the high school teams are out here, they're into that. I mean, this crew right here is probably my favorite. We're chugging beers here. It's really a special atmosphere here in Winnipeg, so I'm giving my game ball to the Bombers faithful and the fans here.
And Luke, they don't care how. They care that they're going home, and their team managed out a victory to get to 9-8 and much better playoff position, even though they haven't officially clinched tonight.
Yeah, there are no style points in football, right? And it wasn't pretty tonight, but the Bombers got it done when they needed to get done. Not surprisingly, it was Brady Oliveira down the stretch with a number of big plays to keep that drive going, setting up the winning points off the foot of Sergio Castillo.
And so that's part one of our Friday Night Football doubleheader and a crazy finish to the season by the West Division. If BC beats Edmonton, we do know that Winnipeg will clinch a playoff spot. If Edmonton wins, oh, don't even ask. We'll head over for part two.